Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Okay, so you're here for the deep dive because you really want to understand, what's up in men's NCAA basketball right now.
That's right.
And that's what we're going to do today.
Exactly.
We've got a really, really cool perspective using, what fans like you have been searching for online.
Yeah.
It gives us like a real-time look into what's going on in the sport.
Exactly. And we've got a pretty broad set of information to dig through here.
Yeah.
And, it's clear right away what's got everyone's attention.
Yeah.
We're seeing tons of interest in a potential Florida-Houston matchup.
Oh, wow.
A lot of questions about who won March Madness recently, 2025, and even going back to 2024.
Okay.
And, of course, everyone wants to know about the NCAA championship game.
Sure.
When it is, where it is, how to watch it, all of that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and beyond the big picture stuff, it looks like fans are really digging into the details on specific teams.
Yeah.
Florida Gators and Houston Cougars, those are coming up a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the teams themselves either, right?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Player names are popping up all over the place.
Absolutely.
Will Richard Walter Clayton Jr., Emmanuel Sharp, L.J. Cryer, Alex Condon.
Right. Jawan Roberts, Joseph Tugler.
Yeah, even Al Horford and Chinyelu.
That's right.
Okay, so what are we doing with all this?
Well, we're going to unpack it.
Yeah.
Our goal today is to figure out what these searches really tell us,
Right.
about the big storylines in men's college basketball.
Yeah.
Especially around March Madness and how Florida and Houston might factor into all of that.
Okay, great. So where should we start?
Well, one thing that really jumps out at me is just the sheer amount of interest in a potential Florida versus Houston matchup. Like, people are searching for these two teams together in every way you can imagine.
Oh, why?
It's not just waiting for the schedule to come out. They're already thinking about this game.
Wow.
And probably speculating on how it might play out.
Interesting.
I think when you see this kind of focused interest this early, it usually means there's something really compelling about the teams involved.
Oh, okay.
Some kind of narrative that's already taking shape.
It's like everyone's filling out their brackets in their heads already.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And it's not just about who might play either.
Right.
We're seeing tons of searches for things like who won March Madness 2025?
Right.
Who won March Madness? Who won the NCAA basketball championship in 2025? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people looking back at 2024, too.
So looking back and looking forward.
Exactly. And I think that shows us that understanding, the recent history of the tournament, it's really important for fans.
Right.
It's about context. It's about knowing who the teams to beat are.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to think about why so many people are searching for past winners. It really speaks to the lasting appeal of March Madness.
Okay.
It's not just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
There's a connection between past champions and the teams competing now and knowing who won before. Right.
It adds weight to the current storylines,
Right. Yeah.
It helps fans understand the significance of what's happening.
So it's like building on a legacy.
Exactly. It gives you a benchmark for evaluating teams and thinking about their legacies.
And then, of course, there's the practical side of things, which is huge from what we see in the search data. Mm-hmm. I mean, the number of searches related to the NCAA championship game itself.
Right.
Like, NCAA championship game, when is it?
Where is it?
Where is it? How to watch it? What channel is it on?
Yep.
It's a clear sign that fans want to know exactly how to tune in.
Absolutely.
They don't want to miss, the biggest event in college basketball.
I think the really interesting thing about these how to watch searches is how detailed they are.
Okay.
People are looking for specific channels, streaming options. It really shows how important it is for fans to have all the information right away.
Right.
It reflects how we watch things now.
Yeah.
There are so many different ways to access content. Mm-hmm. And people want to find the most convenient one for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
When we look at the searches for specific teams, like Florida basketball, Houston basketball,
right,
or even just their nicknames, it tells us there's a really dedicated fan base out there.
Okay.
These aren't just casual mentions.
Right.
people are actively trying to find information about these programs.
They want to stay updated.
Exactly. They want to know how they're doing, what their potential is.
I see.
And then within those team-specific searches, there are some that hint at a deeper level of interest. So for Florida, for example, there are searches for their roster, their head coach, Todd Golden. Even a question about a potential women's basketball matchup with Houston.
Oh, wow.
It all points to fans who are really engaged.
Yeah, they're not just skimming the surface.
Exactly. They want to know about the people involved, the broader context of the program. And we're seeing a similar pattern with Houston, right?
Absolutely.
Searches for their roster, their coach, Kelvin Sampson.
Right, the women's team matchup.
Yeah, it seems like fans really want to get the whole picture.
For both programs.
Yeah, and what's even more interesting is the appearance of specific player names in these searches.
Yeah.
So for Florida, we're seeing Will Richard and Walter Clayton Jr. being looked up, along with Alex Condon.
And on the Houston side, Emmanuel Sharp, LJ Cryer, with some people specifically looking for his stats.
Oh, wow.
Juwan Roberts, Joseph Tugler, all generating interest.
So they're really following the individual players.
It's a big part of the college basketball experience.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
We're also seeing searches about the history of these programs.
Oh, well.
Things like, has Houston won a national championship in basketball? And similar questions about Florida's championship history.
Interesting.
It shows that fans are thinking about the historical context.
Yeah.
And the pedigree of these teams.
So not just the current season.
Exactly. And this awareness of history is really important.
Okay.
It helps us understand the significance of what's happening now. You know, when fans ask about past championships, they're not just looking for trivia.
Right.
They're trying to understand the legacy and the tradition.
Okay.
And how that might influence the team's performance today.
I like that.
And of course, we can't forget about the crystal ball gazing.
Oh, right.
People are definitely trying to predict the future here.
Yeah.
We're seeing searches like Florida versus Houston prediction, Houston versus Florida prediction.
Okay.
Along with searches for odds and betting lines.
So they want to know who might have the edge.
Absolutely. It's all about anticipation. And I think it really highlights, you know, the competitive and sometimes speculative nature of being a sports fan.
Right.
People love trying to guess what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And comparing their own thoughts. Yeah.
With what the experts and the odds makers are saying.
It adds another level to the whole experience.
Exactly. It keeps things interesting.
Okay, so taking a step back.
Okay.
What does all of this tell us about the fans themselves?
I think it paints a picture of a really informed and engaged fan base. People aren't just passively watching basketball.
Right.
They're actively searching for information on all sorts of things.
Yeah, potential matchups.
Past results, how to watch, team details, player stats, historical context.
It's a lot.
It is. And that potential Florida versus Houston game, that's clearly a major point of interest.
Yeah.
And the overall fascination with March Madness, looking back and looking ahead, that's undeniable.
Yeah. So we've got a fan base that's both really broad with all the general searches about the tournament, but also incredibly specific with those detailed questions about individual players.
That's the really interesting part. Yeah, it's like a really sophisticated level of engagement.
Absolutely.
Where both casual fans and diehards are digging deep into the stuff they care about.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's recap.
Okay.
What are the key takeaways here?
Well, first, there's a ton of excitement around that possible Florida-Houston game, which suggests there's something special about those teams.
Right.
Or the potential matchup itself.
Right.
People really want to know who won the recent March Madness tournaments, which shows just how important it is to follow that championship narrative.
Right.
Having easy access to viewing information. Yeah. Especially for the NCAA championship game.
Right.
That's a major concern for fans.
Okay, so those are like the big three.
Exactly.
But then it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
When you see how those connect to the more specific stuff. Like the general interest in March Madness goes hand in hand with those searches about Florida and Houston and even individual players.
Like Will Richard, Walter Clayton Jr.,
Emmanuel Sharp.
Yeah.
LJ Cryer,
Alex Condon, all of them.
It's a really multifaceted way of engaging with the sport.
Right. And when you consider just how many searches there are and how much variety we're seeing, it makes you wonder.
It does.
Like, what does this tell us about how fans today are experiencing college basketball and interacting with big events like March Madness?
Is it all about that instant need for information?
Yeah.
And the desire to not just follow, but to actually predict the stories of these teams and players.
Yeah, like we're not just watching anymore.
Exactly.
We're trying to figure out what's going to happen next.
It's a whole new level of engagement.
It definitely gives you something to think about.
That's for sure.
Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.